Hi friends, this is Chris with Josephine's Designs. I'm back today to share with you my planner that I'm just setting up, and it is my vegetarian going vegan planner. And I have always tried to record what I eat, how I eat it, all that kind of good stuff, you know. And in the last couple of 3 years, I've gotten completely away from it. I love the Tone Up Girls, their food journal. It's really great, but I had bought some extra planners this year, pardon me, this year, and I decided that this is how I'm going to use this. This is the Illustrated Faith planner. Let me show you. So I did take out part of the months that I had not been using because it was an 18-month planner. I got it, I think, half price at Hobby Lobby. So anyways, here's a really good tip for you. If you have planners that can make it through January, if you can buy by the end of January, or you can keep that on a sticky pad, your information, you can literally save a lot. I mean, sometimes, and a lot of times, it's literally almost half price. So, just as an FYI, and especially calendars that you hang up in your home, I hands down say wait. Unless you can get a free one, I say wait. So anyways, I'm going to get started. I also have put together some resources that I'm going to share with y'all. And yeah, we're just going to hop on in here. So, so Vegetarian Good and Vegan is really, really good for those of you who've asked. And it's not for everyone. Please do not think that as I come and I share this, I'm saying that everyone needs to do what I'm doing. No, everyone needs to do what works for them. I have some health issues that are, in the words of my doctor, actually two doctors, two specialists, your family history is what is the issue with why you had these two problems. And, or, you know, or major factors at least. Well, they always say are the issues, but I just say major factors because I think that, you know, if we do our best and try and, you know, work things as best as we can, you know, then hopefully we don't have to succumb to that family history. But, and what I'm making reference to is I have had to see a cardiologist this year. Ironically, he was both my parents' cardiologist. That's how I actually got to know him, and he's such a good doctor, and he was so good with my parents that, you know, I just knew he needed to be my doctor. And then, and I even told him that. And then, and he has a really good sense of humor, and that means a lot to me. And I've got to tell you guys, one of his partners was there one time for one of my parents who was not in a good place. And he had a horrible bedside manner, and it was. I'm just gonna go ahead and clip this. It was not good to watch as the child of, but I mean, it just was what it was. And when I've had people since then say that's just terrible, blah blah blah. Well, it just was what it was, right? You know, I mean, we can all sit there and say yes, it was terrible, but you know. So as I got ready to choose my new doctor this fall, is it fall? Winter. Sorry, I don't even know where I'm at. Winter. I knew that I wanted one who had a really good bedside manner, because anybody who has seen a cardiologist, there's an issue probably with potentially blood pressure or any of that, and it is no fun seeing what I would call a mean doctor with high blood pressure. Then you have total white coat syndrome. And this doctor is really just extremely bright on the board of the hospital, one of the local hospitals. And I'm going to cover that even though I know the dates. And he's just extremely competent. And we have family members that have also met him and felt like he was just a fantastic doctor. So I felt like that was a good fit. And so, and then the other doctor I see is a gastroenterologist, and we have serious GI tract issues in our family, you know, Crohn's and things like that. And I do not have Crohn's, God willing, I never will. But you know, we've had diverticulitis and all of that, so I do have some GI tract issues, and this doctor, I almost died in 2009 twice, and he literally saved my life. And I do not take his talents and abilities lightly. I know that he is, you know, he just is very good at his profession, and he was on the national board at one point for one of the sitting presidents. So I was very fortunate to become one of his patients, and literally I thank God every day for these two doctors, because I know that, you know, they put up with my silliness of, well, I'm going to go plant-based. And when I saw my gastro, he was so cute. He was like, because he's like a big game hunter, and, you know, he's tiny. He's not, you know, he doesn't have a weight problem. And he was just like, when I told him I went plant-based, he was like, well, why'd you do that? And he meant it so honestly. I just started laughing. And I said, well, because, you know, got these issues, and it's really hard for my tummy to process meat, and the more I looked into it, it was just a better fit for me. And but he is priceless. He is brilliant, and you know, his humor is without fail. And you know, and he knew I had been talking about going plant-based since 2010. And you know, he was like, yeah, like, I'm sure he hears that all the time, and nobody does it. So anyways, and you know, I'm not 100% there either. I mean, my only stumbling point is and will always be cheese. And it's because it is a soft protein, and that is easy for my stomach to, my GI tract to digest. Not necessarily, because once you go off dairy and you go back on, not very pretty. But, and I will admit that if I eat something and eggs are in it, I don't go out of my way to avoid that. And I know in time I will. Especially if they're organic, free range, all that. So, am I a strict vegan? No. Am I a vegetarian, a strict vegetarian? Oh yeah. This weekend, we went over, we took our youngest to go see a movie, and then we went to go eat, and I had ordered a quesadilla, and when they brought it to me, and of course that had cheese, but I was hoping for less cheese, and when they brought it to me, they brought it with grilled chicken in it. And I took a bite, and I was like, I wonder if this was like, you know, they smoked it somehow, and so, because we eat there all the time, and it just tasted different. And then I took another bite, and I looked in and saw chicken. What? Because I knew my stomach was like turning a little bit, and I was like, what is that? And there was chicken in it. And so my husband immediately picked it up and took it back, and the poor guy, he came over, he was so apologetic, and I was like, it's okay. Those things happen, and actually this is the first time I think that's happened since I've gone vegetarian. It may have happened one other time, but it is almost rare that would happen. You know, and it's been over 3 years. I think it'll be 4 years this summer. But anyways, long story short, you know, he went out of his way, super kind, super nice. And I just told him, I said, look, it's just me. It's not anybody else. I just have a different diet. And, you know, and he kept offering us the moon, and I was just like, we're really good, thank you, you know. But those things happen, they sneak in our food, and it was, I mean, I had a bit of an upset tummy after that. I didn't eat until much later, because what they did was replace my dinner, and I just took it home. And anyway, so, you know, long story short, those are the things that happen. But do I purposely seek it out? No, not at all anymore. I know my limits. I know that's not what I want. So, okay, guys, so here's what I'm going to do. I've laid my washi, and now I'm just going to plan my week of meals. But I want to talk you through a couple of tools. And I don't really need things like these lists, you know, vegan grocery lists for beginners and all of that, because I kind of have in my mind exactly what I get. I do order some things online. I do order a lot through Amazon because I get free shipping with Prime. It also comes within a couple of days, and we do not have a health food grocery store in our town. Now, we have one about 30 minutes away from here, and they are fantastic. They will order whatever I want. And my husband has said, you know, if they would carry we like a certain kind of kombucha, if they would carry that and be competitive we would just move all of our business to them. But we drink a lot of kombucha, and I am in the process of starting a new kombucha batch. I haven't done kombucha in my house, for a long time. And, but I'm really hooked on the ginger kombucha right now. And the reason I like it, is because number one, ginger is great for your tummy. And then number two, I've noticed that kombucha has changed my autoimmune system. And it's helping it because it is filled with natural probiotics. I used to take probiotics. Now I don't even have to take them because I drink kombucha every day. And I really love this one. It's made out of Austin, Texas. It's called Live. It's not very expensive. It's not a huge drink either, so it's not overwhelming. I have a problem with carbonation, so if I take the lid off and let it sit for a few minutes, I can drink it very easily. And anyways, it's called Live Kombucha. I love the ginger, and our local, Texas grocery store carries it, and so I can pick it up there. And some of course, the health food grocery stores in these areas, except the one that's 30 minutes away. So, and it's made with stevia, which I really like. So the calories are much less than even like your Synergy kombucha. So, that's another thing that I have in my arsenal for my daily go-to. So kombucha is one of them. I also do a detox tea, and I'll do a video. If you want, I can do a video on all these different drinks that I drink in the day, because I drink, I make sure that I start with water, and if I get all my water in, then I can have my decaf water processed coffee, and I have that with dark chocolate almond milk and stevia. And then I go from that, I have my Plexus Pink, which helps with arthritis, and I don't know why, but it helps you sleep at night. It's fantastic. And then I just added in a detox tea. And what I saw today, I just got it yesterday, day before yesterday. Anyways, I need to put it, I made some this morning, and I took a couple of sips of it hot. It was really good. And then I read on it, you can throw it in the fridge overnight and let it just steep all night in the fridge and do like a refrigerator tea. That's what I'm going to do. I'm lazy, I'll admit it. So, but I'll drink at least one of those in the day, and then at night I have the PM detox, or the night detox tea. And I just think that those are really good tools for us. For me, what I eat and drink have to count. And I'll tell you right now, look at an Oreo pack. Vegan, they're vegan too, but you just got to pick better choices. And I'm going to tell you, there are days in all of this that we've gone through. Yeah, we have Oreos. We'll break down and have some Oreos. And it really has to do with, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't do anything, I don't do anything. And I'm not saying if you drink or whatever, if you have wine or beer or whatever, that's your decision. That's not my decision. I can't do it. I physically cannot do it. Besides, I chose not to. There was alcoholism in our family, and, with distant relatives, and I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to bring it in. And my husband had a very similar decision, as well as, we're Christian, and we just felt like for our children's sake, we wanted to be a really good testimony to them. The testimony that we would want to be to them. It doesn't mean that it's a bad testimony. It's just the testimony that we wanted to have with our children. So, anyways, long story short, those were just some of the choices we made. So, anyways, so I drink, and if I didn't have the detox PM tea, I always have a sleepy time tea, and there's one that's really good and one that isn't. And I can, if you guys are interested, I could do a video on all that. Just send me an email or leave a message in the comments. So, all right. I'm going to quit rambling because I am really good at that, aren't I? Okay, so this is a vegan grocery list for beginners. It's from plentyvegan.com. It's just something I printed out. It was in my, I'm sure I just saved it to my laptop. This, I think I saved it in January, but January 3rd, it was a blur. And, I'd hoped to be starting off the new year with all this. And I did. I started off the New Year's vegan, and then we had that terrible loss, literally a month from February 3rd. So, anyways, it kind of just, took it right out of me, and I'm making my way back home. I'm making my way back to what I need to do. I also have just some great recipes that I've found over time. This is the peanut noodles with vegetables. I think this one is a forks over knives recipe. It doesn't say on here because usually I just cut and paste because I don't want all the ads on it. But anyways, we are big. I love Thai. I love pad Thai. So these are some of the tools that I keep, and I'll keep them in just the back of my planner here. I also have picked up some magazines, and when I tell you where I got these first two, please don't, well, laugh. It's funny. My husband, if he could go to Lowe's every day of the week, he'd be happy. And he's so cute. And so last Sunday we were out. I had to run a couple of errands, and he goes, okay, well, I'll come do all this with you if you'll go to Lowe's on the way back. And he didn't say it till we were like in the car. And I said, okay, well, why don't you go on in and I'll just, watch YouTube or whatever, I'll sit in the car. And he was so funny. He goes, no, you have to come in. I said, well, if I come in, because I love Where Women Create magazine. They're just really pricey, and I didn't get it this time. I'm way behind on reading my other ones just due to all that's gone on. But I did get a couple of healthy food recipe magazines. So not that I needed these, but I just wanted something to kind of recharge myself. So I love herbs. I used to have a huge herb garden. I don't. I just have a patio garden, which it is a big patio garden. I'm not going to lie, but I really focus on like maybe 3 or 4 herbs anymore, and that's it. And then some tomatoes. I'll throw some tomatoes and peppers out there. But so I love this. This is by Better Homes and Garden, cooking with fresh herbs, and it just shows the 80 different ways you can do it. But so I have a couple of recipes. I just go through and I just take a stack, and these are my Target sticky notes, so they're not that expensive, and you get a ton of them. And I just go through and I just start marking pages. Like I don't have a recipe for that, but I do want to do some of the overnight either yogurt or oatmeal or whatever I'm going to be doing. I kind of see that both ways, and it just triggers my mind to the different things. I love that Detox Tea. A lot of people put cut strawberries in it, and I love fruit or vegetables like cucumbers in water. I was at the grocery store last weekend with my husband that same day we went to Lowe's, and I walked in. They have a little like boutique inside the grocery store, and it's really odd, but it's wonderful. And I walked in there because I was looking for like little tiny glasses cases for clip-on glasses, sunglasses. And because I wear these little clip-on ones. And anyways, I mean, I have prescription sunglasses, but the clip-ons are easier. They fit in your purse easier. And she had water with cucumber in it. I love ice water with cucumber. It is so good. Anyways, I love juice. I love juicing. So anyway, so I thought this was a great reminder. This was a great reminder of some things I want to do this week. And I can literally use like vegan cheese and olives, and I can do the same thing. When you become vegetarian or vegan, you find ways to convert your recipes, your favorite recipes. I mean, literally, I was so sad last week because of another family member with really rough health, and it was just really ripping me up. And I thought, I just want like chicken and dumplings or chicken pot pie, because my mom always made chicken pot pie, and I always made chicken pot pie from scratch. And I could literally go buy like grilled faux chicken, or I could just use tofu and recreate it, with no lard, I mean, just vegan, the vegan version of it. I could even do a whole wheat vegan version of it. So we don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We just need to make it healthier. And that's what I'm trying to do. Now, if anybody comes up with a healthy vegan Oreo cookie recipe, please send it to me. Because that is late. I never have cared that much about Oreos, but with all the chaos, it just sounded good lately. So anyways, we are huge potato eaters. When I grew up, if you were sick, my great-grandmother had a phenomenal potato soup recipe. My mom, like when I had my wisdom teeth out and I got really, really sick afterwards, she made me just vats of potato soup. I love homemade potato soup. And it has to be my grandmother's recipe. And I can't do my grandmother's recipe because it's full of cream and, so I change that. I alter it. So I love tomato soup. I change that, I alter that, and I have plant-based on both of those, and they are phenomenal. And actually, if I went back and ate like my great-grandmother's potato soup, it would make me so sick because, number one, the dairy, but number two, it's just so heavy. And the things I used to crave when I was younger, I don't crave when I'm older, except Oreos. But anyway, so this one looked good. It was mashed Yukon Golds with parsley butter. So what I would do, I'm just going to give you a really quick, I'm hoping you can see, yep, that recipe. So it is from start to finish, 45 minutes. That's all great, blah, blah, blah. That's all good. What I look at is the recipe. So Yukon Golds peeled and cut up. That's easy. Anybody can do that. Half and half or milk. So what I would use is either a soy or, I don't necessarily use almond milk all the time because I think there's sometimes a residue in the grocery store. So I really like soy, and I know people that don't do soy. You could use something else. You could use coconut milk, and coconut milk would be fantastic. And they even have the creamier coconut milk in the can, so you could use that as well. 6 tablespoons of butter. I would use Mother Earth butter, but I will say I would probably cut that back and just, add butter to taste because it's just straight oil. When you're looking at vegan butter, it is just straight oil with flavoring. So you have to decide. I literally had this sweet woman tell me in like Whole Foods in Austin one day. She was like, because I was looking at all the faux cheese, because when you're transitioning, you need a crutch. You got to go to something. And I was looking at all the different ones. She goes, oh, you know what the real crime and all that is that people just don't understand. It's just so full of oil. And I said, yes, ma'am, you're right. But it's a great tool for when you're transitioning. And I mean, she was thin. She was, she was an older woman. She was extremely fit and tan and gorgeous. And, I just looked at her and I said, it's that transition time that these things are really great tools. And she said, you're right. I hadn't thought about it that way. And I said, yeah. I said, but the more you get that oil taste out of your diet, the better you'll be, which I always go back to Joel Fuhrman. Anyways, he's a nutritarian, and if you ask me what I am, I'm more of a nutritarian than vegetarian, vegan. I want to focus on the nutrition. Let's keep going, and that argument is potatoes aren't that bad for you. Yes, they're a carb, but it's a plant-based carb, and so there's the argument, especially if you're not eating a lot of animal products, this isn't a bad thing to do. So everything in moderation, right? Everything in moderation. So salt, black pepper, 1 leek trimmed and thinly sliced, 2 cloves of garlic, and I gotta be honest, we like garlic, so it'll be a lot more than that, and 1 cup chopped fresh parsley. I think the chopped fresh parsley is great. I love the leek idea. I would probably throw either green onions or chives in there. I love mashed potatoes. It is, like I said, it's a comfort food for me and my family. But I make it more green than not, and I also at times, not always, but I use the Frontier faux bacon. And Frontier is just an herb company that you can buy their spices and herbs at like Whole Foods. I order off of Amazon. I buy a pound at a time. It is much more cost effective, and I just literally put them in a half-gallon mason jar, put my lid on tight, and we are literally getting ready to go on a trip, and that'll be one of the things that we can throw in. And so if I stop and get a salad somewhere, I can throw my fake and bacon on there, and I'm good to go. It gives me a little bit, it's a soy-based product, so it gives me a little bit of a protein hit, which for me, I have to be really careful, because if I eat too many carbs, or if I even have too much sugar, it could be natural sugar, I have to balance that out with protein. And I don't know, it happened when I got older, it just happened. So another thing I looked at was this chimichurri sauce. My husband likes things hot. I don't. Not all the chimichurris are hot. This one has red pepper in it, but I will make something for him with that. And he loves fresh, he loves habaneros, he loves habanero sauce, he loves like cut up fresh jalapenos, or even hatch chili peppers, the hottest ones you can find if you're in New Mexico. He loves all of those cut up and thrown on his food. And I'm like totally great with that, because I honestly like yellow peppers and orange peppers and, you know, your regular bell type peppers. I don't like the green as much, but I will. They have a little bit more acid in them. So I love the red. I really, really love the orange, and then I love the yellow. So yesterday I bought the cheapest ones were the yellow. So I bought me 5 yellow peppers yesterday. So I literally go for what's the cheapest. So anyways, long story short, I always make things like this up for him and have them available. Okay, so I saw this recipe, and this is a Mediterranean tabbouleh. That looks fantastic. I have a hard time with tabbouleh. It doesn't break down well in my stomach, but I'll make this for my family, and I'll have like literally like a tablespoonful just to taste it, you know, because it just tastes so good. And unfortunately, it is really hard on my tummy, but I loved couscous and tabbouleh, and I can sometimes get away with the Israeli couscous because it's bigger, and I guess I'm able to chew it and break it down better so that my stomach doesn't have to do all the work. So my husband's idea is make, you know, quinoa, run it through the food processor or the high-speed blender, and then throw it back in and make that for yourself. And I haven't done that yet. My brain can't quite get there, but I will. So I love this. This is a green and potato soup. I thought this looked really good too, and they're adding things like spinach, arugula, parsley. I think those are really great things. I think that the more greens we put in everything we eat, the better we do. I had one doctor tell me point blank, and that's all I've gone in this magazine. I'm just going to put these for this next week. She would literally tell me, wake up, have a pot of beans cooked in your crock pot, throw greens on it. I love cilantro. Chop your greens up, throw that on it. I also chop raw pepper, like yellow or gold, you know, yellow, orange or gold, and then red, and I'll chop those up and put those on top, and then I'll chop up onions and put on top. And if I'm hungry for cheese, because for years we used to put cheese on top of our beans, I will put tomatoes chopped up and avocado. And for some reason, that combination tricks my brain into thinking that it has that same flavor as cheese. I don't know why. It must be the saltiness of the tomatoes or the creaminess of the avocados, but those are the things you just figure out over time. So, all right, so here's this, and again, I got this at Lowe's, and it was ridiculously expensive. It was $9.99, but it's a really nice, it's a good quality, so I'll keep this in my recipe books. Another magazine that was not expensive, and you may already get this, for some reason I'm not getting it right now, is Better Homes and Garden. And this one was only $3.99. I did pick this one up at Lowe's as well. And not all recipes, like I said, are a perfect fit, but we can convert the recipe. So this is a really good fit. This is, I think, Chinese eggplant. It just sounds fantastic. And I was reading it and I thought, oh yeah, I can do that. So basically, and if you don't know with eggplant, if you will slice your eggplant and let it soak in a little bit of salt water, it'll draw out that bitterness, and it won't be as bitter when you eat it. I don't like that bitterness. That was my mom's trick, and it works, you know. So literally you have 2 Chinese eggplants, and I would do it with a regular eggplant if I didn't have Chinese. Eggplants cut crosswise, steam covered in a steamer basket until just tender, 15 to 20 minutes, half lengthwise, and score each piece. So scoring it helps. Stir together 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. I would use my Bragg's amino acids or my coconut aminos, depending on what I want to use. 1 tablespoon rice wine vinegar, 1 clove minced garlic, and 1/2 teaspoon of toasted sesame oil. I will tell you, there are times I've used sesame oil and my husband's like, oh, that is horrible, I can taste it. And now I'm learning how to use it to make tofu into bacon, things like that. Yes, there's faux bacons out there. They're really not that good for you. I mean, I gotta admit, and there's one brand in particular that is not as good for you as other brands when you're looking at the faux meat world. But I do buy, not necessarily the bacon anymore, but I do buy some of the faux meats for like when I walk in and it's like I cannot eat another salad and I cannot think of what I want to eat. So things like this I would totally do, and then you top it with toasted sesame seeds. So another trick is, if you like sesame seeds, or if sesame seeds are too hard for you because you can't chew them up completely, use hemp hearts. They are fantastic.